Good evening and welcome back to Red Wave USA. My name is Ross Rotz. We got a wonderful show for you tonight. Another sort of quicker show tonight, not too much going on in the news realm of politics lately, besides that of the Epstein files. That seems to be the biggest thing floating around the news right now, so we're going to cover that just a little more. We have more of a reaction from all of America, rather, on these Epstein files. We're going to dive into that a little bit. More importantly, Trump signed the Epstein Transparency Act into law today, Wednesday, November 19th. So we'll get a little more into that. We're also going to talk about what took place last night, Tuesday, November 18th, in Dearborn, Michigan, my home state here. We're going to talk about the clash between Islamic protesters and Christian protesters. We're going to talk a little bit about what went down in Dearborn, Michigan. A little crazy on how close that is to me, something that I could attend rather if I was more into field work, which could be something we could transition into. But besides the fact, that's the two topics that we got on the docket for today. I'm excited to be back with you all on Red Wave USA. I love doing this. Again, I know I say it almost every episode. I couldn't be more thrilled to come with you again today to talk about news and talk about politics with you. So thank you for joining Red Wave USA. My name is Ross Rotz. Enjoy the show. Wednesday, November 19th. Welcome back to Red Wave USA. We're excited to get into what we have on the docket today, and that is still more Epstein files news. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. In specifics, the Epstein Transparency Act, which is the bill going through Congress right now, or rather on Trump's desk, that has been signed today. This is going to be the release of all the Epstein files. We're finally going to get to see everybody who was involved. Many want to say that Trump is the main orchestrator or involved a lot, and we're just going to have to wait to prove them all wrong. As Pam Bondi announced today that there will be 30 days for the Department of Justice to release everything within these files to the public, to kind of upload everything onto a server to make it public record. So this is going to be a rather excruciating 30 days. So anyways, it looks like to be around December 19th is the final day to have everything released. So maybe we'll get them sooner. Maybe they will be on that December 19th. We don't exactly know. We just do know that it is a 30-day time period allocated to allow the release of everything to the public, right? So we talked about it last episode, and we really went into depth on the two main emails that Democrats were using as the main kind of ploy to show that Trump was in on it all, right? And we obviously debunked both of those because they had no merit at all. One was proved to be a joke, and the other was redacted on the Democrats' behalf to try and implicate Trump as much as possible. Again, you remember I kind of showed you guys that they redacted the name, the victim's name in that email, and it was Virginia Giuffre. And that name she had already testified back in 2016 saying that Trump had done no wrong. There was no wrongdoing with her involving Trump. So we have already moved as to that email is not sufficient, and there's nothing nailing Trump there. So we'll get to see if there's any more emails that are going to be released within these 30 days. So maybe we'll have some more substance. Probably not. I know the Democrats certainly hope they do. And, I also wanted to kind of go into, I asked a certain question last episode, right? And that question was to the liberals or to any Democrats, left-leaning, whatever. And I asked you guys, my Republican viewers, I said, ask your liberal coworkers, your friends, whatever. Ask them and say, will this be the end? Will you guys be convinced when all the Epstein files are released? Will you be convinced if Trump is not named in any of them or not implicated in any wrongdoing in these emails or in these files, rather? Will you be convinced, and will we finally drop this whole Epstein case? Will it be done? Will you guys stop nagging about it? And there was kind of a mixed response. The main response was no. And typical from the liberals, they will not give up their point of leverage. No matter how much evidence is shown to them, whatever it may be. As you saw last episode, I debunked their 2 main emails, right? Whatever evidence you show to them, it's not believable, right? They're just going to stick to the narrative that is given to them by a Chuck Schumer, right? By a Hakeem Jeffries, whoever the top liberal legislator or liberal influencer is right now, and I don't exactly know who that is. I don't think they know who it is. As for 2028, they still don't have a primary candidate, someone that's going to look to run in the presidential election in 2028. I know they want to say it to be Gavin Newsom, I think, is right now their leader. And obviously that would be a landslide, whoever went up against Gavin Newsom. Literally anybody. Hell, I think I could go up and run against Gavin Newsom and win. I mean, if you look at how he has destroyed California, there is no credibility for him as a politician, right? But anyways, back to that question that I asked. If there is no concrete evidence in these Epstein files, will you finally get off of this topic? And the resounding answer was no. Because they seem to believe that if Trump is not in the files, or if Trump is not implicated in any wrongdoing in these Epstein files, they've been scrubbed. They've been edited. They've been redacted. Anything. They have gotten to this point, this we must get Trump attitude, where nothing, no matter if it's credible facts, will dissuade them from their opinion. They will always be on this one-track mindset. And it will never go away. And I talked to some of these people in the comment sections. I said, listen to what I'm saying right now. If there is no concrete evidence released in the files insinuating Trump with any wrongdoing, will you drop it? And they just simply said no. No, they won't believe it. To kind of steer the Democrats in the right direction, or rather give you, my conservative viewers, some kind of speaking points on this, as we know they're not going to drop it, let's talk about the actual redactions and what is prohibited in this release. Because they say that Trump is authorized to scrub these files and take his name out of everything. That's what they seem to believe. It seems they've lost all hope in the justice system. But anyways, let's go through exactly what is allowed to be redacted. And this is quote from the actual bill. Okay, and it's paraphrased, but this is from the actual bill. This is what's in it. This is what's allowed to be redacted, okay? Records that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. So if any of these Epstein investigations are ongoing, that will be redacted to protect an ongoing case, an ongoing investigation. That will be redacted for now, later to be released at the end of said investigation, right? Normal, boilerplate procedure, right? The next one, any victims' names, information, medical files, anything relating to these underage women to protect them. Absolutely. We're not gonna, this is procedure in any legal case. As you know, if you are brought in a case and there was a minor involved, they are named as Jane Doe, right? Anyways, we'll move on. Classified information, national security or foreign policy sensitive items. Obviously, this nation has to keep its integrity regarding national security. That's a given. And lastly, the bill strictly prohibits withholding information just because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. So there you go. There you go, Democrats. Specifically included in the bill. Let me read it again for you. The bill prohibits withholding information just because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. So again, if you need to scroll back on the video and listen to that again, I know you want to say that these files are being scrubbed by Trump. It is specifically in the bill, this same bill that was voted 427-1, it is specifically in there that just because it may be emotionally sensitive or hurt someone's reputation politically, there is no scrubbing of that substance. So say Trump is in there like you so desperately want to believe, say he's in there, it's legally not allowed to be scrubbed. It's illegal to do that. And I know you want to believe your conspiracy theories and say Trump is above the law, but this is specifically in the bill. And may I say it again, this same bill that was voted 427-1. So before you Dems and liberals, whatever we call you nowadays, before you want to dive back into that bag of conspiracy theories, it is strictly prohibited within the bill to redact any information regarding these restrictions that I just laid out for you. And the one that you seem to hold so true, that Trump is scrubbing the files, it's specifically in the bill that that's illegal. So I don't know what more proof that you need. I know conspiracy theories run rampant through your party right now, but it's law. Nobody is above the law in America. Remember that. In other news, there's been a certain audio that's been circulating social media. It was on my TikTok, it was on my Instagram, it was everywhere. And as you noticed, if you watched the news at all recently, you noticed Trump had sort of a hoarse voice, right? His voice was a little worse for wear.
Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let him get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down with me. Fix.
This audio was all over my social media. It was everywhere. They're claiming it's Trump. They stripped just the audio from that exact video, claiming it's Trump, and Trump is in the Epstein files, and he's going down. He's going to bring everyone down with him. And this is just how far the liberals have been pushed. And it's sort of amusing to watch the downfall. It really is. You know, we've seen this time and time again. They're going to create their own narrative. We saw it even the legislators. They push it with the whole redacted email thing. They push this conspiracy theory. They want their own party to buy into this stuff. But anyways, this has been the most popular audio. It's everywhere. So I did a little digging because, you know, AI is getting pretty crazy nowadays. It really is. So I was going through comment sections like, man, is this really real? Because I'm going to have to get on here and say, you know what? You were right. Liberals, you were right. But with one quick Google search, 5 minutes of research, this is all it takes. But I know research is a foreign element to liberals. One quick Google search pulled up that this was from an account that was made on Sora 2. And if you don't know what Sora 2 is, it is the newest AI generator. You can take any reputable celebrity, anybody on there, and you can make a video of them. You can use their voice. You can create whatever you want, pretty much, with that person's voice, their face, whatever. You can create a very hyper-realistic looking video. And so that exact video that I just played for you was created on Sora 2. If you notice in the video, it has the Sora 2 watermark all over it. It kind of bounces around the screen. But no, liberals took the video out so you wouldn't see the watermark. And then they just took the audio and they filmed themselves, kind of with the audio in the background of Trump screaming and, wow, we got him again. And again, here we are. I feel like this is my civil duty at this point. I have to sit here and debunk every single liberal conspiracy theory there is, because who else is going to do it? You can't really let them be on their own and let their minds race, because things like this will happen. They'll go on an AI app and they'll create audio like this and they'll spread panic through the public, So that's where we're at now. We're having to debunk AI. And even some of these pictures that they're spreading pictures of Trump with, and I know there are pictures of Trump with Epstein. I'm not dumb. I understand that there are actual real pictures. But I was in different spaces on the TikTok community doing, they do the lives and it's like you can talk and it's a big group or whatever. And they're posting pictures of Trump kissing underage women is what it looks to be. And again, one quick Google search says, this photo has been claimed as AI. But they will die on that hill of that this AI generated photo is reality. But this is the world we live in, where it's so easy to get fooled by AI. I get fooled by it too. As soon as I saw that video with the audio of Trump, I had to look deeper for that exact video with the Sora watermark on it, but because it was just the audio. Liberals were spreading this audio showing Trump screaming about the Epstein files, do not release them. So I really had to look deep and find that it was AI generated. But again, they will use this to spread mass panic, to get people to come to their side, which they almost did. They almost got me, but a sensible man like myself, I'm going to do the background research to show that obviously it's AI. But we live in a day, in a generation where AI is controlling our society. And it's really sad to see. And it's only going to get worse. That's the thing. Sora 2 just came out like 2 months ago, and it's already this hyper realistic generator of voice and image and video. And if you think it's bad now, it's only going to get worse. This is going to absolutely destroy politics, this whole AI generation thing. It's going to destroy credibility. It's going to hurt a lot of people when you make things like this. Imagine if you did this, you created a video like that, and you stripped the Sora 2 watermark, the AI watermark, showing that it's AI. Imagine if you did this to Joe Blow at the office, right? And you bring this to his boss. Oh, look I got a leaked phone call from Joe Blow saying that he was on Epstein Island talking about all this, hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. Imagine if you bring that to a boss who doesn't know any better about AI. He's fired, done, life ruined. But obviously, Trump is the president, and people spreading mass panic on AI were able to do background checks on this stuff. But you do it to a normal person, they wouldn't look a different way. But anyways, they used this audio and this video to try and connect the dots between Trump's hoarse voice, who he claimed it was from, he was negotiating a trade deal with another country and it got heated, and you know him, he's not going to take bull crap from any other country, you know. So he claimed that's what it was from. But again, the Democrats exploited that and came out with their own AI generated phone call, right? And now releasing it and believing it. So I'm going to get this up as soon as possible to again disprove another liberal conspiracy theory. Here we are. I feel like that's the title of every one of my TikToks or YouTube shorts at this point, is like, oh, here you go. Here's your evidence that you are wrong once again. I know you won't do the research yourself, so here it is. I'm giving it to you. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to cover the whole Epstein thing just a little bit, and the swirling conspiracy theories, and people in my comment section saying they're still not going to believe it when the files are released, and Trump's name has to be in there. He has to be. My life depends on it. My life depends on Trump being in those files. My sanity depends on it. Because if he's not, what do liberals have? What's the next point of leverage you guys are going to take? Because I don't see it right now. I'm sure it's going to be another wild conspiracy theory that I'm going to be here talking to you about once again. But anyways, I know I get heated about this stuff because it's just common sense. And that's why I am a conservative. That's why I am on the right, because we're the party of common sense. We'll sit here and do the research to disprove your little conspiracy theories. Anyways, I wanted to move to the next topic of our show, and that was actually taking place in my home state of Michigan. There was a clash between Christian protesters and Islamic believers, Islamic protesters, I guess. And the videos that came out of that, I'm not able to show them, but you can do your own research. Actually, look up Cam Higbee on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. It shows all video of him being attacked by these Islamic protesters. I mean, there's videos out there of these Christian protesters being punched and rocks thrown at them. It's a disaster over there. But anyways, this story broke last night. There was a big protest. Christians took to the streets because This was a whole big deal about a month ago. There's a mosque in Dearborn, and Dearborn historically has been one of the most Islamic run cities in America, actually. But anyways, there's a mosque in Dearborn, Michigan that has this call to prayer going every morning at 5 or 6 in the morning, and it's on loudspeakers, and I guess sources say it can be heard up to 4 miles away. This moaning, and I'm not discounting the Islamic religion here. I'm not. But it's whatever this call to prayer is, it's like a singing type of thing, and it's blasted every morning on this loudspeaker. And again, we have freedom to religion in this country. So that doesn't mean you can push your religion on others. And I understand as Christians, we are the messenger. I understand that. I get that. But we're not pushing it on people like this. At least when I drive by my church every morning, there's no call to prayer being pushed out 4 miles away on a loudspeaker. Well, granted, as Christians, we are still pushing the word of God. I understand that. But anyways, these Christian protesters, they took to the streets saying, listen, enough is enough. We've had it with this Islam religion being pushed so heavily on this city of Dearborn. And lots of reputable people came to this protest to kind of support the Christian faith. Cam Higbee, he's a notable Republican influencer. He was pepper sprayed and attacked by these protesters, It's just ridiculous. And I'm not going to get too deep into it. I just wanted to make you aware of it. But this is the day and age we live in. And, this is something that I could see myself going to and supporting as a Christian myself. And something being so close to me, I've never really had something like this so close to me. Rather a big breaking news thing, right? So maybe we'll do some field work. Maybe Red Wave USA will kind of have some field work days. Maybe we'll work that in and start going into the field a little bit. Maybe Dearborn will be the first place of field operations for Red Wave USA. I'd be excited, but hopefully I wouldn't be pepper sprayed or anything like that. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. And I mainly just want to talk about the whole Trump Epstein thing. And, let me just talk to my conservative viewers right here. And liberals, you can listen too. That's fine. There's going to be a lot of false media, a lot of this AI, the same sort of wave of conspiracy theory that's going to be released in the next 30 days as these files are on the docket to be released. There's going to be a lot of misinformation being spread. And I know that, liberals have kind of been the whole censorship and fact checker on social media, but it's our turn now. This is our duty. We have to get on all of these stories and all of these social media sites where they're spreading this misinformation, and we have to be the ones to disprove it. We have to be the ones to keep the liberals on the train tracks. That's where we're at now. They want to believe the AI and this misinformation of stories. They want to believe all this. We got to be the ones to say, hey, let's get you back on track here. Let's get you back to reality. Let's turn you back to sanity, right? That's the day and age we live in. And again, like I said, it's only going to get worse. This whole AI generation thing, it's going to get worse and worse as time goes on. But anyways, I know it's kind of a shorter episode today of Red Wave. Not too much going on in the news sort of things. I'm sure there will be a lot more stories breaking within the next 30 days as these Epstein files kind of cycle their way through and, come to us as public record. But just so you know, the Epstein Transparency Act has been signed by President Trump. He signed it himself into law, granting the release of everything. So we will look out for that. I will be sure to report on all those. I'll be sure to report on all the different rabbit holes that liberals go down, and I will be sure to disprove every single one of them, because it seems like that's my job here at Red Wave USA now, is to disprove all these conspiracy theories and rabbit holes that the liberals go down nowadays. So anyways, again, my name is Ross Rotz. This is Red Wave USA. You know how I end every single one of these episodes. Conservatives, we have to stay proud. We have to continue to hold our values and ideals close to us. Now more than ever, conservative ideals in our way of life is under attack. They don't want you to live the standard lifestyle. They don't want you to live the cis white male, right? The straight white male lifestyle. That's not in anymore. That's under attack. So now more than ever, you have to stay true to your ideals. Stay true to your values, your conservative values. And again, if you're watching my video, you're on the fence, whatever, take a peek into our side of the story. Look into it a little bit. And why don't you look at conservative values as a whole, as a construct? Don't look at, I know you want to go to social media and you want to look at what Trump says. I'll say it right now. Trump is not the greatest role model. He's not. Sorry to say he's not. But when you look at what we had last election between laughing alcoholic Kamala and Donald Trump, you got to pick the conservative candidate there. I'm sorry, you do. We live in a two-party system. That's where we're at. You know, I'd like to see a stand-up Christian at the helm. I really would. But again, I know all liberals, they want to say that they want to attack Trump's character. That's fine. I'm not saying I'm in full support of Trump's character whatsoever. And some of his policy decisions right now aren't the greatest either, but this is what we got. And as we look to 28, we need to make more of an uproar of, conservative values need to be pushed more. And we'll get into that. That's on the docket. Don't you worry. We'll be pushing it here on this show, that's for sure. But anyways, that is it for Red Wave USA today. I want to thank you so much for your support. The viewership we have right now is awesome. I couldn't be more happy with everything that we're doing here, everything you're doing as viewers. Couldn't be more happy. So we're growing, granted at a slow rate, but that's fine. We will get there. And no matter if we stay at this small viewership, I'm fine with that. As long as I know I'm doing my duty as a Christian, as a conservative, to steer this country in the correct direction. So again, thank you for tuning in to Red Wave USA. My name is Ross Rotz. Have a great week.